Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Welcome to NFL Nexus. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down a blueprint that could completely reshape the entire National Football League. Before we unravel this giant puzzle, I need you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button, like this explainer, and comment your thoughts down below. And look, if you truly want to support the channel and dive deeper into the trenches with us, become a channel member today. Okay, let's get right into this. Because the landscape in Washington right now, it's shifting. And it's shifting with a violent, calculated precision that we haven't seen in a very long time.
So what is the missing piece? Just look at that question. Let it hang in the air for a second. Let it sink in. The stakes for the Washington Commanders' new era have literally never been higher. You've got the ownership of Josh Harris. You've got the incredibly calculated vision of general manager Adam Peters. You've got this massive cultural reset happening under head coach Dan Quinn. And of course, the arrival of franchise quarterback Jaden Daniels. A foundation has absolutely been poured here. But a foundation is not a finished fortress, right? There is a void, a silence in this offense that absolutely must be filled if this franchise is going to survive the brutal gauntlet of the 2026 season. I mean, just think about the arms race within the NFC East alone. You're looking at grueling divisional matchups against defensive fronts that are built specifically to destroy you. And there's this immense pressure mounting on Josh Harris to deliver a contender immediately. Not 5 years down the line, but right now. To conquer that schedule, you need every single piece of the puzzle.
Section 1. A franchise completely reborn. Section 2. The two-headed monster. To really understand the missing piece, we first have to understand the reality of the ground we're standing on today. The modern NFL is absolutely merciless. It demands a multifaceted ground attack. Look, the days of relying on a single, bruised-up, battered bell cow back, those days are dead. They are gone forever. It's a brutal reality that teams either have to adapt to right now or they are going to perish on the field, period. The Commanders have quietly but meticulously assembled one of the most intriguing running back rooms in the entire league to answer this modern demand. They aren't looking for one single savior in the backfield anymore. Think of this restructuring not as a traditional depth chart, but it's more like the assembly of a highly specialized military unit. Every single man in that room has a distinct lethal purpose. Look at the sheer contrast between 1A and 1B here. On the left, you've got Rachaad White. Now, he's listed at the top, but his true value isn't running between the A-gaps. He is the air attack weapon. He's an absolute nightmare for linebackers in space, possessing the crisp route running and the soft hands of a dedicated slot receiver. If you isolate him on an angle route, his specific footwork, the way he plants his outside foot and just explodes back inside, it leaves heavier defenders grasping at ghosts. He literally forces defensive coordinators to treat him like a wideout. But he's not a traditional bruiser. He lacks that inside authority. He dances. He dances behind the line of scrimmage, constantly searching for a home run lane instead of just hitting the crease and taking what's there. Now, contrast that deeply with Ja'Cory Bill Krosky-Merritt over on the right. He is the early down engine. When White dances, Krosky-Merritt cuts and punishes. He operates with this incredibly low pad level. At the point of attack, his physicality is just jarring. He doesn't look for the home run on every play. He takes the 3 yards of dirt right in front of him and turns it into 5. He has this undeniable lateral shiftiness in tight spaces, which allows him to squeeze through closing gaps that would completely swallow up a dancer like White. This engine is going to dictate defensive matchups based strictly on down and distance, forcing opponents into a constant, exhausting guessing game all game long. 805. Let that number wash over you for a second. 805 rushing yards. This isn't some hopeful projection. This is the monumental revelation of Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt's 2025 rookie campaign. He earned the absolute right to be the primary chain mover through sheer, undeniable production. In a league that literally eats young running backs alive, racking up 805 yards as a rookie is a massive statement of intent. And consider exactly how he got there. He wasn't just coasting behind dominant, flawless offensive line play. He was consistently beating heavy, stacked defensive fronts. He was grinding through the brutal, grueling nature of a rookie wall that usually breaks a first-year player by week 12, earning every single yard through violent contact. He proved to everybody that he can carry the early down load even when the defense knows exactly what's coming. He also led all rookies with 8 touchdowns on the ground. The guy finds the end zone, but there is a fatal flaw. 2, actually. As we talk about his potential to be a true 3-down back, we have to acknowledge the fumbling issues. And even more terrifyingly, his absolute inability to sustain pass protection against blitzing NFL linebackers. You simply cannot be the cornerstone of a backfield if you cannot protect your franchise quarterback. Think about it. When a 240-pound linebacker comes unblocked, screaming through the A-gap with a 10-yard running start, that is a quarterback's absolute worst nightmare. A missed assignment in that exact moment doesn't just mean a drive-ending sack. We're talking about a potential season-ending injury to your star under center.
Kroski Merritt's hesitation in those crucial split-second moments forces the coaching staff to pull him on third down. It's a severe vulnerability, and believe me, opposing defensive coordinators are going to ruthlessly exploit it every chance they get. Section 3. The missing offensive muscle. This leads us directly to the role players, the guys who do the grueling, unglamorous, bone-crushing work that rarely makes the highlight reel. Make no mistake, without this missing offensive muscle, the entire ecosystem completely collapses. White and Kroski Merritt are the flash, but you absolutely need the hammer. Enter Kaytron Allen, the finisher. Out of Penn State, they drafted him to inject pure, unadulterated power into a backfield that was desperate for an enforcer. I really want you to think about the physics of tackling Kaytron Allen. He thrives in traffic. He possesses elite contact balance. The man rarely, and I mean rarely, goes down on first contact. He always falls forward, he's constantly dragging defenders with him, and he imposes this punishing mentality on a defense that's already exhausted. Picture a hypothetical 3rd and 1 in the fourth quarter. It's freezing outside. The turf is slick. The defensive line digs in. They crowd the box with 9 men. This right here is where the game is won or lost. It's dirt. It's sweat. It is a violent, high-speed collision right at the line of scrimmage. You hand the ball to Allen, and he just shatters that line. Now, does he have 80-yard breakaway speed? No, of course not. He isn't going to outrun a secondary. But the crucial point here is, that's not a weakness. It is the calculated cost of being the team's designated hammer. His role is absolute. Short yardage conversions, high leverage red zone touches, and the brutal 4-minute offense, where the only goal is to salt away a lead and completely break the opposing defense's spirit. But what happens when the defense brings the house? You need this safety net, Jeremy Nichols. Look, a championship contending locker room absolutely requires a veteran who knows the playbook at a molecular level. His mastery of complex blitz pickups isn't just some nice trait to have. It is a literal matter of quarterback survival. Imagine facing a cover zero pressure package. The defense is sending absolutely everyone. There is no deep safety to bail you out. McNichols has to instantly read the Mike linebacker, recognize the overload stunt on the weak side, slide his protection, and step directly into the breach to absorb the brutal impact of a free rushing defender. It's high-speed chess played with severe physical consequences. Now, he might lack the explosive dynamism of the younger backs on the roster, but his emergency depth, his mentorship, and his vital special teams contributions make him the ultimate insurance policy. If he doesn't decipher that cover zero pressure, the quarterback goes down hard. It's that simple.
Section 4. Explosive wildcards and grinders.
Now we're moving to the absolute fringes of the roster. These are the dark corners of training camp, where the battle for the 53-man cut isn't just a competition. It is a life-or-death career struggle for these athletes. Look at this breakdown. These are your dark horses. Jerome Ford is the ultimate boom-or-bust player. As you can see, his defined strength is pure, terrifying breakaway speed. If he finds even a tiny crease on an outside zone run, he has the gear to take it the absolute distance. But what's completely absent from his game is consistency. He runs hot and cold, lacking the natural cutback vision required for inside zones and completely missing the anchor needed for reliable pass protection. He's a wild card. They can scheme for jet sweep, sure, but trusting him on a down-to-down basis is a massive gamble. Then you pivot to Robert Henry, the UDFA grinder. Undrafted free agents face an impossible mountain to climb. The life of a UDFA is waking up every single day knowing you are entirely expendable. You don't get the benefit of the doubt. You don't get the guaranteed reps. Your mistakes are magnified 10 times over, and your margin for error is absolutely zero. But Henry brings this desperate nonstop motor. He may lack the elite athletic measurables, he doesn't have the 4.3 speed or the 40-inch vertical of the drafted guys, but he compensates for that absence with a willingness to do the absolute dirtiest work. He's the guy who will sacrifice his own body, throwing himself into 20-mile-per-hour collisions on kickoff coverage just to earn the right to put on the helmet the very next day. This is the micro detail of roster building. The coaches are going to have to decide between the lightning potential of Ford and the desperate, relentless grit of a grinder like Henry.
Section 5. The hometown hero arrives. So the backfield is set like a highly functional, highly specialized Swiss Army knife. But let's shift the narrative entirely here, because while the ground game is a weapon, there's an ultimate plot twist looming. The missing piece to the passing game, a piece that could literally tilt the balance of the entire National Football League. Let's see how this builds. Stefon Diggs. This isn't just some random free agency rumor. This is a story of deep, deep geographical roots. Before he was a global superstar, he was a hometown kid. Our Lady of Good Counsel High School, the University of Maryland. He never lost his connection to the DMV. Think about what Stefon Diggs means to the local culture. He is a symbol of the area's rich football heritage. The DMV is a region that prides itself on producing fierce elite talent, and Diggs is arguably its most famous active export. Bringing him back isn't just about X's and O's. It's about restoring a specific local swagger to a franchise that has been starved for a true superstar identity for decades. Fast forward to May 2026. He's back in the area hosting a Mother's Day event for his Diggs Deep Foundation. And right now, after his stint in New England, he's a free agent, seeking a new home. Suddenly, a homecoming to Washington, pairing up as a veteran target alongside Terry McLaurin and rookie Antonio Williams, it is no longer just a fantasy. It is a terrifyingly real possibility, a narrative that writes itself perfectly into a franchise desperate for an offensive spark. When pressed about conversations with players in Washington, this is exactly what Diggs said.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm familiar with the city, and I'm familiar with the people.
You have to read between the lines here. Notice the hesitation, the repetition. This cryptic admission hints heavily at secret conversations happening behind closed doors. Why do players speak in this code during free agency? Because the NFL is a league built entirely on leverage. You never show your entire hand until the contract is sitting right there on the table. Admitting direct negotiations can derail a market, spark bidding wars, or incur tampering scrutiny. But by speaking in these half-truths, by just acknowledging the familiarity, he isn't shutting it down. He's acknowledging the whispers. He's letting the smoke billow from the fire. And then he delivered this line. It's love. It's hometown. So it makes sense. Just let those words echo for a second. It makes sense. The seismic implications of this for the 2026 season cannot be overstated. A veteran of his caliber, with his explosive route running, looking at a stable, reborn Commanders franchise and saying out loud, it makes sense. Connect that directly to the specific offensive scheme opposite Terry McLaurin. McLaurin is a dominant force who routinely draws double coverage, safety shading, and the opponent's absolute best cornerback every single Sunday. When you deploy Stefon Diggs on the opposite side of the formation, defensive coordinators are completely trapped. You cannot bracket both of them. Diggs' ability to absolutely dissect single-man coverage on sharp, intermediate, in-breaking routes would give Jaden Daniels an unstoppable outlet. It essentially breaks the geometry of the defense. It stretches them horizontally and vertically at the exact same time. Section 6. The final NFL Nexus. We've zoomed in on the absolute microscopic details of a training camp battle. Now, let's zoom out to the league-wide scale. Let's connect that hyper-detailed backfield breakdown with the looming massive shadow of a blockbuster wide receiver signing. This right here is the master plan summarized. You have a Swiss Army knife running back room, White's elite receiving, Krosky Merritt's grueling consistency, Allen's brute force, and McNichols' vital protection. You have a completely reborn franchise culture under Dan Quinn, and hovering above all of it, the ultimate wildcard, the potential homecoming of Stefon Diggs. Recap the sheer magnitude of the stakes here for Dan Quinn in the front office. General Manager Adam Peters has meticulously cleared the cap space, stripped the rot from the roster, and drafted a true franchise quarterback. They have pushed all their chips into the center of the table. If this master plan comes to fruition, the expectations shift violently from rebuilding to championship contender. If this multifaceted backfield clicks, and if they land Diggs to flank McLaurin, the Washington Commanders transform instantly. Failure is simply no longer an option when you assemble a war machine of this caliber. So I leave you with this final, lingering thought. Are you witnessing the birth of an unstoppable dynasty? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Commanders' master plan. Do not forget to subscribe to NFL Nexus, hit the like button on this explainer, comment your thoughts down below, and become a channel member to support this level of detailed breakdown. We will see you in the next analysis.